Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to our recap of the finale episode. The finale came out just over 1 week ago, and we've been super overwhelmed at the outpouring of sort of support and excitement. We're super, super thrilled. We've obviously been keeping this a secret for now almost 7 months, and it just was awesome to sort of see the responses. In sort of celebration of this and to thank you all for sort of watching these videos with us all season, we have some tantrum parts to share with y'all. So I guess we're doing a giveaway. We're new to this whole YouTube thing, obviously, but we've got a lot of parts and we want to sort of appreciate all of you. So I guess in order to do this, you should comment down below who Tantrum and Blip should face in their first match next season. Who you think would be fun, who you think we maybe would do well against, or maybe who we would lose to, whatever you want. So just let us know and we'll pick from the YouTube comments. We will also be doing this on Instagram at seems.reasonable and on our Facebook page, Seems Reasonable Robotics. So if you want to triple your chances, feel free to go there and answer those prompts as well.
Yep, and just for sweepstakes reasons, it's only for US-based people, just so you know. So sorry for the international folks.
Alex knows all the deets. Cool. So sort of just now to jump right into the finale, we were super grateful this year to actually watch the episode with a bunch of fans. Aaron, do you want to chat about that?
Yeah, we were real excited, obviously. We had two robots going into the finale episode. So people have had viewing parties in the past, and we just started going, we could do that, get a bunch of the area builders. There's a lot of people around us in the Bay Area of California. And so it was about 10 days or so beforehand, Sean and I started poking at venues and stuff, and it just kept getting bigger, and Sean some contacts, and we ended up selling out the IMAX Dome at the Tech Interactive in San Jose. And it was great to be able to cover tickets, cover cost of that, but we had 13 area teams, I think it was 15 teams, 13 robots, and 210 fans with us. And I couldn't picture a better way to watch a finale episode of BattleBots. And I think it went well enough. We're probably gonna do it in the future, regardless if we're in the finale episode or not. But yeah, it's
and when gotta manage.
Oh yeah, when we're in the finale episode again. But yeah, this at the end of it, I also did a Q&A section. The Scorpios team actually did a full builders blog video on the event, and brought their own bot bash setup out there to play with. So some kids got a crack at the current world champion BattleBot driver. My hunch is they beat him. We'll see. I gotta ask for details on that one, but go check out over on Scorpios' channel. Their recap of the event, as some of the Q&A section captured as well, with a bunch of the builders.
Cool. So then sort of jumping right into our fights now, our first fight in the episode was against Cobalt. Alex, can you sort of tell us how we felt going into that fight?
Not well, I guess, as anyone could, right? Like, right. In a previous episode of one of the podcasts, I had mentioned once you have a vertical spinner that reaches the certain bar of energy, it's always going to be scary. Always going to be a scary vertical spinner. Now, what we don't talk about is that there's another bar above that, and that is where Cobalt is, and that's where it's really scary, because getting hit once could be the end of the match, right? A lot of verticals we've designed to be able to take a few hits from, but even hitting in all the perfect spots, like on Tantrum, like the one hit from Cobalt and it could be done. And so my pre-fight interview, we talked about that, right? You get hit once and it could be done. And it wasn't scripted or anything, right? But the driving match was set up for Dylan, and he just kicked ass, right? He did everything he needed to. You couldn't have asked for a better match for us, right? Just got under them, caused them to gyro, right? You see that in all the matches. And we did have one part where we were really scared, right? So he's looking at the back right corner. We were getting up on his wedges, but we managed to drive away before we got hit. So that was really scary for the one time we did get up there, but we squeezed out and eventually pushed him into the corner and got the KO. So that was, again, a masterclass. Not trying to toot our own horn, but Dylan did a really, really good job there, and I'm really proud of that match. So
yeah, it's crazy. Like Matt Maxon's been doing this for years. The guy drove at RoboGames forever with all the Devil's Plunger, Sewer Snake, and Stinger. So rookie driver Dylan, who's not a rookie to robot driving, but a rookie to combat robot stuff.
Yeah.
taking on that level of veteran with that level of gnarly spinner behind it was definitely a dicey one. I was watching monitors backstage going, yeah, that was very expressive during that one.
I mean, the best way to face a crazy, dangerous vertical spinner is just don't get hit, right?
As MC Hammer said, can't touch this.
Right. Easier said than done. Much easier said than done. I mean, I'm sure that was Ghost Raptor's plan too. So.
Which Ghost Raptor was at the finale viewing party in one piece.
Yeah. So what? It's true. Nobody wants to get hit by Cobalt, right? We just managed to not get hit. We're lucky, right? Like it's bound to happen eventually, but that match we didn't get hit. So that's all we could ask for.
Yeah. Indeed. Awesome. So that was pretty exciting because beating Cobalt meant that we made it to the semifinals, which is where Tantrum made it last year, all the way to the semifinals. So that was, I think, a really good feeling for us to sort of be able to hit that milestone again and be in the top 4 and sort of prove, I think, maybe that, last year wasn't a fluke. And I think doing that maybe one season could be, but I think twice in a row, hopefully we've shown y'all that Tantrum packs a punch. And yeah, so that was awesome. And then
and I'll add there too, like the past 2 matches, you saw what Tantrum was designed to do from the get-go. And that was to drive somebody to the sides and pop them out of the arena. And we knew that was a core focus for the robot moving forward in the design process. So we didn't need crazy levels of energy. But that was the goal, is bring them over to the edges and pop them out. And seeing that twice in a row is just like so satisfying. So
yeah, although ironically, I think the 2 out of the arenas weren't both intentional necessarily.
Yeah, neither were intentional. Neither were intentional.
Yeah, not that.
Otherwise, we would have been DQ'd, right?
But literally in the rotator one, our punch was free sliding to a certain extent, and then in the Cobalt one, Cobalt also definitely helped us in that. We gave them a slight lift, and then their weapon did the rest of the work. So
right,
it was teamwork, I think, in both instances. Certainly. All right, awesome. And so then the next team seems reasonable fight was Blip versus Hydra, the flipper versus flipper flip off that everybody has been talking about. Aaron, how excited were you to fight Hydra?
Well, everybody's just like, oh, flip off. It's like, oh, okay, no, it's scrape off for whoever gets underneath the opponent. There's definitely advantages and disadvantages of both. I've talked about some of them on the show. The fact that Hydra doesn't gyro is nice. Like, so we have to be dialed way down in order not gyro. But we're going for a circling strategy and got caught in the wrong spot as far as a mess up on my side. But he got the initial scoop. And then after that, well, before the fight, we added little wings with regards to we're probably going to go flying. So yeah, let's add some. Those are purely for cushioning. Those are actually excess cutouts from Huge's wheels that Jonathan was so kind to let me borrow to tank Blip's ability to self-right. Yeah. Because we added those, and after that, we couldn't happily self-right because we didn't test that enough. So pro tip, don't change things. I heard consistency is good. I don't know, something about that.
Yeah, 3 times in a row. Can you talk about what the thought process was behind why you thought those might add some cushioning and what they would do to help absorb impact? Like what? Yeah, how does that work?
Yeah, so in this case, that material is known as Tegris, and it's like a plastic/fiber matrix. So it's really tough stuff, but it's definitely like more springy and squishy than hard metal is. So in this case, if Blip lands on her head on that top apex point, that's going solid into frame rails. That impact has to go somewhere, which is likely going to end up in deforming material. And we don't really want that. So as by landing on those short cantilevers of those ears, that's actually a fair amount of cushion. And it just goes into flexing and probably delaminating those ears some.
Yeah.
So that was the thought behind it, and still not the worst thought in the world, but we didn't test afterwards to find a happy point for self-righting. So that's a thing that resulted in magic carping around the arena. So the joke there is still we got in more flips than Hydra, just despite them being on ourselves. This one, I like this picture just because it looks like Blip is flying away like a beautiful little butterfly. But yeah, and then the thing that actually tanked us in this match, past two things in a row was losing the back left wheel. You can hear Jake in there going, they're gonna get off, they're gonna get off. It's like I couldn't tell from the box, but back left wheel being off was the only wheel that was touching the ground at that point. So without being able to have that, we weren't driving away from that. So that is an issue that's since been mitigated after the event. That's the first thing we went and fixed, because Tantrum lost a fight in the Gigabyte, lost a wheel in the Gigabyte fight. Tantrum didn't lose a fight. And then Blip lost one here. So obviously we're always looking to improve stuff for the future, and that's one of the initial things immediate things we did after this event.
Yeah, and this here is also just like a super cute picture of Trey using the on-off key for Blip. I guess maybe, I'm sure most of y'all know this, the robots all of them sort of have to have an on-off feature. And so those tools have to be marked and accessible so that other people other than us can use them in case.
Well, the other thing here, like, so in this case, the key is the weapon lock. It locks out the weapon from firing. So right. in his other hand is the on-off key.
Okay, sorry, I got those.
Yeah. Sorry for turning the robot on and off. But people have been speculating with regards to what that key does. It locks out the weapon from being able to fire. So when Trey's going out there to safety the robot, he's got to walk out there trying to look all serious with a wind-up key in his hand. And this photo just makes it look like it's match is paused, Trey's winding Blip up again, and we're gonna keep going. It's like, no. So it's just a fun picture.
Yeah, definitely. I think we'll have to come up with a fun gimmick for some of Tantrum's tools next year just to do this. All right, and then I guess after this fight, it was unfortunate, but then Blip was eliminated from the tournament, which meant that all of a sudden Tantrum had a lot more hands available for help in the pit. And this here is just a cute picture of the two of us. Our pits were side by side. We were one team throughout the whole event, but especially now it was sort of all hands on deck for Team Seems Reasonable. Still had a chance to bring home the nut at that point, so we were still pretty thrilled. And then, of course, that means Tantrum had to fight Hydra next. So, Alex, do you want to chat a little bit about how you felt going into that?
I mean, not good, right? We just saw him beat.
Why are you always feeling not good? That's your answer.
Okay, you're telling me that you have to fight Cobalt and then Hydra and then Witch Doctor, and you're gonna feel good at any point during that? Like,
I feel good after a match, maybe. Sometime.
Yeah. So we knew, Jake, as he said, he's coming for the family, right? So he's coming for Tantrum now. The piano keys didn't work as well as we had wanted. Not like we had a plan for that either. We couldn't have put that on Tantrum, but the ground game, just like with Blip versus Hydra, it was mostly what the game was about, right? So we could have tweaked some things some more, but we chose to try to be consistent. Because that's one of the things that we wanted to make sure we didn't lose any of our drive capability by trying something new, trying to go too sharp on the tusks, etc. Because we figured that the best way to beat Hydra would be to getting around the side, right? Ginger mentioned that in the pre-fight, shark circling its the prey, or no, yeah, you said predator in the interview.
Tantrum's gonna be like a shark circling its predator.
So we knew we wanted to get around. We wanted to knock a few, like once you get under Hydra once or twice, you can knock a few of the skirts off. And so we knew that that's what we wanted to go for. And we did knock a few skirts off. We took a few skirts off. We damaged some of the front end throughout the fight, but that we were sitting trying to position ourselves away from the flipper. Obviously, it's sticking out pretty far. Mm-hmm. And so just getting anywhere around there, you're going to lose your driving capability. But that eventually we damaged the flipper arm, and it got stuck up at one point. We went in for an awesome attack here. It was really cool. It was like probably my favorite part of the fight, when we went over there, and then as his Flipper comes down, you see just sparks and the tip just flopping in the wind. So either this hit or later on, I think we hit the tip again, broke it off, and then it couldn't come down all the way. So like towards
the end
of the...
they clamped you in there, and then I think that bent their own stuff. So it's like, okay, now the flipper tip's not on the ground, and then we were able to punch it off.
That's right. So yeah, take off some of the skirts, damage whatever part of the ground game we can, and go for more attacks. And that was the goal. And we did that, right? All we can do is put the robot in the arena and hope for the best. And so it was really interesting fight. I think it's actually really fun. The controversy around it is like shadowing how cool of a fight it was. I think like it was a really cool drivers match, and
that's you can tell watching us after the fight where it's like, yeah, wait, oh, split.
Well, yeah, you're sitting back sitting back there. I thought we lost, right? I thought the match was done, and that initially we lost, and so when they announced it was a split decision, it's like, oh, I guess we have a shot here. And then of course your brain goes into overdrive, like what could have happened to make it be a split decision? Like what are the judges seeing? And so after they announced the scorecard, the winner, and then we look at the scorecards later, it's like, okay, I can see some of the rationale. We haven't talked to the judges or anything, so we don't know exactly what they were thinking, but it was a really close match, and we obviously are happy with the results for us. So that was really cool. But I will say I was really depressed at the end of that fight. I think they even show it. So yeah, it was a really cool fight. That's all I have to say about that. We have to improve our ground game. I think that's the biggest thing.
That's so and then like the ground game gets made a huge deal all the time. Like Tantrum only has 2 ground games. It's got the forky things and the beak.
Correct.
That's all. Like figured it out. That's all Tantrum ever actually brings to the event is those 2 things. So
yeah, that's the only thing that will take forever, right? We're never going to come up with anything new, so don't expect anything new from Tantrum. Yep. Consistency.
Gotta trust it. It works.
Trust the process. Trust the front end. But yeah, it's you don't want it to go to a judge's decision like that. You want to get a KO, and I think that goes for everybody at the competition. So
yeah, definitely. And so beating Hydra, awesome. That was super amazing that we were able to scrape by. But then we faced Witch Doctor. So that was pretty exciting. I think speaking of ground game, as we were just talking about, Witch Doctor brought some pretty powerful forks into the finals match. I'm just kidding.
That's it. We've been friends with the Witch Doctor crew for a while, so it was fun going into this one with a solid level of Jeff's back and forth. And one of our teammates, Jason, I still call their biggest fan. So his head's just exploding that we're facing each other in the finals of BattleBots. Mm-hmm. So it was definitely fun being able to play against Witch Doctor. But as you guys said earlier, big vertical spinner, ow. So Alex, how are you feeling about this one?
Not good. We just saw what happened. Yeah, like you said, you saw what happened to Sawblaze.
Yeah.
It's terrifying, right? They also tried their new weapon, and we had saw them set that up for our fight as well. And so,
which to throw back to last year, we got to face Sawblaze after Sawblaze did very mean things to Witch Doctor, and that was terrifying going into the match. So it's funny that the similar thing this year just flipped. Sawblaze just got dismantled by Witch Doctor. Oh crap. Oh, okay.
So. Yeah. So we were scared, right? But I think Witch Doctor has a little bit less energy than Cobalt, so we didn't feel as horrible about like the armor configuration or anything. So like, again, like everyone says it all the time, but like there are only 2 configurations, but like we still tweak things, right? But with this time we're just like, let's roll it. Like, let's trust what we've been doing and just get into this fight and try our best. So, and we knew it was gonna be a driver's match. That's what Tantrum is. It's a control bot with a lower energy weapon. So it's all about just hitting them in weird places and trying.
It is also nice going into a fight knowing that you don't have to win the ground game. of which doctor makes choices, and it's hard to argue with them. They've been in the finals twice in the last 3 years in terms of not playing ground game. But there's definitely advantages that come from playing it and going into a match knowing you have it in the bag because the other team's not playing. It's like that definitely eases the mind a bit. And then you look at the spinning thing and you go, crap.
Yeah, and I think early on in the fight, we were actually able to get right under Witch Doctor and give them a little belly tickle right in their belly pan. And I think during the match, Alex, was sort of telling me afterwards, we chatted some, we knew Witch Doctor was driving funny, but, you're not sure what's going on. Maybe they were just stuck on something. Maybe it was just something like momentarily that, was going to be fixed. And so you're sort of standing there and you're like, okay, be careful, Dylan. We want to watch the clock. We want to be ready to, pounce, sort of chase them around, bully them around a little. But then Alex, maybe you can talk about what started to happen sort of as time passed.
Right. I guess like the first 15 seconds or so, we get that hit that disables them for the rest of the match. And so like you said, Ginger, like the first, after that, the subsequent 30 seconds, I thought I didn't see because I wasn't paying attention to like our robot as much, like staring at Witch Doctor, but I thought it was like one of our fists or like something came off of one of the robots and was wedged under there. So I thought they were going to get free at any moment. So I told Dylan, just try to get as many points as you can, right, in terms of like control and aggression, and try to get some damage in there, but obviously stay away from the weapon as much as possible.
Yeah, and
so
this picture is really cool because you can see the Tantrum disc-sized flap.
And the belly pan of Witch Doctor is 1/4-inch aluminum. So
right. So it's not dainty.
That's not it's not dainty, but it's also not where they put their armor hit points.
Correct. So in the future, are they going to armor that better when they fight us? It's like, I hope, because now then they have less weight elsewhere. Maybe they won't have as big of a spinner. So but then for the subsequent minute of the match, it's a question of like, okay, are they crab walking enough that they're going to be counted out, or are they in? And so it was a matter of continue the match, get as many control points, get as many aggression points, get some damage points in there, and just dominate the match so that even if it goes to the judges, we get it. But in the end, we get them into the corner and we are able to count them out.
So my favorite moment for that fight was definitely the count out, double hand raise, middle of the arena. Let's go.
Oh yeah.
The champion Tantra.
And no, we have not made a set of arms to have Tantrum hold the giant nut yet, at least.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty weird feeling because once we knew that Witch Doctor had mobility issues that weren't just like, a piece of arena debris, it was like, oh my God, like, don't mess up. Like, this is our match to lose at that point. And you sort of have like a whole minute and a half to like contemplate, like, you can't quite erupt into cheers yet. You don't have that sort of moment of celebration. You just sit there and you're very tense and you're like, oh my God, just to give each other.
And there are a few instances where Dylan rammed him into the wall, and then you get Witch Doctor doing a backflip, weapon spinning up from hitting the wall, but it's ready to hit you on top. Like, no.
Yeah. So you can't quite celebrate, but the celebration though is quite exciting. And here is just an awesome picture of Dylan and Aaron right after the win. Gosh, that was just the best feeling ever.
Right after I almost broke his shoulder by ramming him by ramming him into the ceiling.
There's a couple people out there saying that Dylan might be the MVP driver of the year, and I biasly agree. I just want to say, awesome job, Dylan. This year, like we took some learning, right? And some mistakes were made getting dive bombed by Gigabyte. But you see in the next match, we immediately learned, right? Rotator's going to dive bomb us and we back out. So,
yeah.
But so great job, everybody. We couldn't have done this without the whole team. There's 16 of us. And that's where, we predominantly work out of one of the garages up in
Los Altos.
Los Altos. Yep. And so the nut's going right next to the workshop.
That's why it's with me in Los Altos area, not Cambridge or San Diego. I'm not just that greedy.
I don't know about that, but well, I'm just kidding. we've been building the robots in the same garage for 4 years, so there's only one place that made sense.
Yeah. And we say this over and over again, but we do truly mean it. It's not just like a bit. Every single person on this team who's in this picture and people who were not pictured were absolutely vital to us, you know, being able to bring home the giant nut this year.
Bring what we brought to the competition as far as 2 robots in the top 8. And no, like we were operating and prepped to be there. And yeah, it was great hanging out with all the other teams for 2 weeks, getting help by some, helping others, getting to know people better. The community is one of the biggest reasons I keep doing this, as far as this is just a blast.
Yep.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that made it even more delightful to be able to have this moment at the Tech Museum when we celebrated with everyone. We actually were able to bring the giant nut out on screen as it came out. And I mean, oh my gosh, that was so exciting. I actually flew back to San Jose from Massachusetts for the weekend just to be able to celebrate with everybody.
This is like a lifetime, once in a lifetime thing. Yeah, I mean, hopefully not once in a lifetime, right? It's a reoccurring once a year item.
We're still going for it next year.
Yeah. But that, like, we couldn't miss this. This is so cool. So, and definitely. After having it pent up for 7 months, it was so cool to be able to show it off and just let people see what we worked on, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I just wanted to sort of end our episode review on how proud I am and how grateful I am to be the first woman to hoist the giant nut into the air. I think it's a really big deal. When I was young and I did robotics, I always looked up to sort of mentors, especially in first. And it was, I think, hard to find people that both looked like me and were sort of very excellent, dominant, powerful engineers, because that's what I wanted to be. And I was really inspired by a lot of the other mentors that were doing that. And so at the event to, have kids and high schoolers that also do sort of first and other things come up to me and express that. It was just like the best feeling ever. Truly, it made everything worth it. And so I think it's awesome that happened. And I am definitely a proud female engineer. And so, that was just an awesome season. Great way to end it all. And I'm super excited, and we're excited to do it again next year.
Yeah, we'll keep you around.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Jeez.
God. And then
we were lucky enough at the Tech Museum event to have several sponsors in the house. I do want to give a shout out to the companies that helped us actually make these silly robots. Gioni from E2E was there. They are largely like they've made tantrums, discs, carriages, and most of the complicated bits inside of Blip. Mm-hmm. Then Johnson Johnson MedTech has several of our team members work there. I used to work there. J&J is doing cool stuff with robots. They do cool stuff in a lot of places, but I like the robots part. Couldn't tell. And then there's a bunch of other companies. I actually went through and made all of our team members BattleBots champion mini nuts. Started off with Sencut parts. They're awesome. Modeled in SolidWorks. So it's like you'll see a trend here of we like working with teams, or working with companies that either support and that we enjoy using their stuff. So we could not do this without sponsors. It doesn't work. So just biggest shout out possible to them.
Check out the eBay store. We just put the biggest batch of items we've ever had at one time. So on Sunday, 6 p.m. PDT or PDT, right? Pacific time is when everything ends. So check it out. There's like 3 days left from the time of us posting this, or 2 days left.
Including the wind-up key.
Including the wind-up key. Wind-up key, there's a fist at the end. There's a lot of good stuff here. And so all of the money that goes into this just lets us build these robots, right? So it really helps us by showing your support financially here, but also it's just really cool to see these parts off in the wild, on people's shelves and stuff. And it's cool that people treasure this as much as we do. So we really appreciate that.
Yeah, I think when we were at the finale viewing party, a few people came up to us and showed us these just awesome displays that they had in their house. And we can't display it all. Truly, we would be considered hoarders.
Yeah.
We are. It's we work out of a 2.25 car garage, so this is definitely a win-win.
Yep.
In terms of clearing out some of the stuff, because this version of Tantrum is getting retired now, but we're cranking away on a new one, and also some updates to Blip for next year. So that's why there's a lot of Tantrum parts because of that.
Yeah, brand new Tantrum. Finally, feel free to also buy merch if you want to wear jerseys, if you want poker chips. We have Tantrum and Blip shirts. We also have Blip flops.
However you want to say it. Blip flops.
Creative independence, whatever you want to call them. They're super cute. So make sure you check them out. And then finally, as I mentioned in the very beginning, thank you so much for tuning in to our little show, our little chit chat that we try to do after all of our fights. And if you watched all of them, thank you so much. And I guess to celebrate that and celebrate all of us together, we wanted to share some of those parts with y'all just as a giveaway. I mentioned it earlier, just comment down below who you think we should fight in our first match next season. And then we're going to start making plans to fight them. I'm just kidding. We don't know who we're going to fight.
Yep. And then next week, don't remember the date, but next week from Friday, so the 22nd, we'll do a random drawing for everybody. So I'm excited.
Yes. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Yeah, been a hell of a ride.
Yeah. Yep.